Hi, I'm author and teacher Grace Martin, here to help you out with how to teach wellness, mindfulness, and complementary and alternative health in your classroom. The reason that I was originally geared toward this presentation is because in the Health 9 curriculum, there is a curricular objective of complementary and alternative health, and then it just says example acupuncture. And I decided that I wanted to delve into that section a little bit more. So if you are interested in teaching health sciences, this is a great presentation for you. Additionally, if you are just thinking of incorporating wellness and mindfulness into your classroom in general, this will be a great presentation. This is specifically targeted, though, for teacher self-experience. So if you need a little bit of self-care, you need a little bit of wellness and some reflective exercises, then stay tuned. This is going to help you with that exponentially. All right, so what is our agenda for today? If we are thinking first that we are using a curricular objective, we're trying to take wellness and complementary alternative health into our classroom, but we have little time, very little comfort in that section, then this is what we can do to quickly get through that curricular objective. Level 2 is if we have a little bit more time, this is how I would incorporate a guest speaker. And then the majority of this presentation is really going to focus on experience. And this is going to be interactive for you. So when it gets to be those individual times, I will ask you to participate at your own comfort level, and you are free to pause the video at any time, get some paper, get some pencil, take some notes, and interact with some of these exercises for yourself. Let's do level 1. I have a curricular objective. I just need to get it done. How can I get it done fast? And I have no background in complementary alternative health. What I've personally done, I've had these articles that another teacher found, printed them off, had a read out loud with my class, and then let's do a journal response. So both of these are really geared toward acupuncture and from a medical perspective as to why people might choose it, what are some benefits of what a patient might experience, and some qualitative reasoning behind it. So reading these articles out loud with the class, allowing for any class discussion and any questions, and then I give a journal prompt. So I say to the students, I need 10 sentences, please. And you might not be able to come up with 10 sentences on your own. So, how about you write me a sentence of, before today, what did you think about acupuncture? As we were reading the articles, what made sense to you? What were you intrigued by? What did you learn? Did you learn about perspectives of people who might be accessing this kind of treatment? Reflect on a quote from the article and how do you feel about that particular quote? So, which, come to think of it, is exactly how my patient thought when she had chronic Lyme disease and felt about me, was from a doctor's perspective of the doctor had been trying to help this patient and been unsuccessful. That doctor went to an acupuncturist, might have had the same type of feeling like, this didn't really help me with my problem. So, how does our perception of this experience affect how we experience it? What surprised, shocked, encouraged, or discouraged you? What did you question? What did you dislike? After you read the articles, do you feel like you would enjoy acupuncture? How do you feel about it as a medical practice? Are you likely to access that form of treatment, or are you likely to recommend it to someone else? After the students have had some time, they can actually write 10 sentences on this type of topic. You give them that mark out of 10. It's good, done, one day, one class. You can move on with your next curricular objective. So that's what I've done for one day. If I've had 2 days for complementary alternative health, then I might also include a few slides of, let's define placebo and nocebo. So the placebo effect occurs when an individual thinks that something is going to cure them and then they are healed. And sometimes it happens quite miraculously. So this could be, for example, a study done where patients were signed up for knee surgery and they were asked to be in this experimental study and said, Kate, we're going to give you knee surgery. So all of the patients get prepped, ready to go in for knee surgery. One group gets the knee surgery, and in one group, they are put under, incisions are made on either side of their knee, and then when they wake up, they're given all the same recovery as the other group and said, this is now what you need to do to recover after your surgery, and found that the group, which was the placebo, who did not receive the surgery, recovered as well or better than the individuals who actually got the surgery. Meaning there's a mind-body connection here that we're not fully exploring in a lot of our medical practices. Conversely, there's also the nocebo effect. If someone believes that something is going to hurt and damage them, it's like a superstition or self-fulfilling prophecy, it makes them sick. So after I define these things, I will ask students to do a think, pair, share. You can apply this to your context, your classroom, whether that's breakout rooms over Zoom or Google Meet, whether that students have to be masked up so that they can sit next to each other and talk it over. But you can ask them the question, if the placebo effect is true, why are we even prescribing medication? After you've allowed them some time to process that information, I like to bring it back to the whole class and then define the double-blind placebo-controlled study afterward to say, okay, when we come up with a new pharmaceutical or a new drug, we need it to be in a study where neither the patient nor the doctor know if that is the sugar pill that has no medical ingredients or the actual drug. That's what double blind refers to, is that they don't know which form the drug is or if it's not a drug at all. That's a placebo-controlled study where then we take the results and that drug only goes to market if it shows that it does improve more so than the control group. So it has to be more than the mind-body connection for us to be able to really market this drug. That's a great little discussion to have with your class. Starts to engage some of the higher order thinking. Again, if you had a little bit more time, you could always pull up some more studies that would show this is what happens with the placebo or the nocebo effect. If you have even more time, or you just know that your personal expertise is not going to be enough to hold class discussions or to really go through any of this material, you can always ask for a guest speaker. One beautiful way for FNMI inclusion is to have a First Nations, Métis, or Inuit elder or knowledge keeper come into your classroom to speak about healing, medical healing, as in medicinal plants, and spiritual healing from their culture's perspective. Now, that is going to be, again, very different depending on the individual culture, the individual nation, individual tribe, or Indigenous background. So it's very important for us as educators to take a huge step back from that one and not try to ever teach it on our own. The spiritual connotations and esoteric knowledge are just way too in-depth for us as educators to try to delve into, and you're going to fall into some pretty serious pitfalls if you try to teach that on your own. So here's my recommendation is a guest speaker is more likely to want to be a little bit more interactive, maybe bring in a drum, ask if they can bring in their sage and show how to sage the individuals of your class. Please send home a parent or guardian letter, because there can be a significant spiritual component, and you might have students additionally with scent sensitivities or other issues like that that need to be addressed if this individual is present in your classroom. And maybe you would still be able to work something out with that individual over an online or virtual meet that would be less interactive with, say, something like Sage, but maybe would be interactive with something like drumming. Again, this is definitely one of those access the people who know what they're talking about. Please access your central office coordinator to try and hook you up with the appropriate person for what you are going for and what your context is and what your goals are and what your students would like to know. I've had complementary practitioners in my classroom before. Sometimes you can get an individual in who will do kind of 2 or 3 birds with one stone in one presentation, and you can check off quite a few curricular objectives. For example, in the Health 9 curriculum, there's a curricular objective about reading nutrition labels. It depends on the specific background of who you are talking to. A chiropractor might also have a minor nutrition background, or you might want to go straight to a nutritionist or to a naturopathic doctor to have that kind of approach. When you are looking for this type of guest speaker, I do recommend that you have a full conversation with this individual first, that you tell them exactly what the curricular objectives are that you're looking to meet, or what the questions are that your students have. What is your goal of having them in your classroom? Because these can be very well versed and well educated, very experienced individuals. But if you're not going to be super clear on this is what I'm looking for, then you might have that individual kind of go off on a tangent that you weren't quite expecting. So please do really communicate with them. If you had a set of slides that you just weren't very comfortable with presenting, you could send them to those guest speakers and ask, hey, would you maybe take this content and would you be interested in incorporating a little bit more into a speaking practice for yourself? And now that we have fairly common virtual meets, this might be even easier for you to access someone. So even something like registered massage therapy, could you ask your massage therapist if they are able to speak on topics of how massage therapy really helps specific ailments and specific illnesses? Can reflexology really have referred effects throughout the rest of the body, and how? That kind of thing is great to access a guest speaker, because these individuals are your experts, especially when we're not the experts in that field to be talking to. Okay, we are moving on to level 3. So the rest of this whole presentation is experiential, interactive, and participatory based on your comfort level. So when I do this kind of interaction, I always let my students know that they have a choice. They are sovereign individuals who can choose whether or not they want to participate in any of these activities. So that means if I say I would like to do a breathing activity with you, or do a visualization to check in with your heart, then you choose whether or not you want to participate. If I'm doing a guided visualization, I do mandate that all of my students sit still and close their eyes. The reason is because if students keep their eyes open, they're going to start looking at someone making faces, making noise, and it completely ruins the experience for everyone else in the classroom. So they do have to sit still with their eyes closed. For those students who are kind of squirmy, kind of squirrely, if they need their own fidget or something in their hand to kind of calm them down, that's totally fine. The point is that they should be silent and calm, so that once their eyes are closed, they are actually engaging their parasympathetic nervous system. Even if they're participating or not in the visualization itself, it gives the body and the brain permission to just take a break. So first, I'd like to do a breathing exercise, which you can do breathing exercise straight into something mindfulness, or you can do separately. So what I will invite you to do is close your eyes. Would you please place your hand, if you feel like it, on your belly, your abdomen, your lower part of beneath your stomach. And I'd like you to try breathing in to your belly. And as you exhale, bring your belly button closer to your spine. Breathe in deeply to your belly and exhale any tension fully. Now we're going to move up toward your diaphragm, so like right underneath your rib cage. So if you would like to, you may place your hands on your diaphragm and you could breathe in and opening your lower ribs in the front and the back, and breathe out. Now to the middle of the chest, breathing into the middle of the chest and into your back, into the backs of your ribs, expanding in the front and the back. Exhale, let it go. Breathe in, and I would like you to breathe in underneath your collarbones to the tops of your lungs, right up underneath your shoulder blades to the tops of your traps. And exhale, let go. Okay, so you can open your eyes. And that simple breathing activity can just be done on its own, or you can use it to segue straight into something else as a guided visualization. So when I do a heart-based check-in, I invite my students to place their hand on their heart in any way that feels good for them. For some of us, that means we do something fun like cross our fingers and place our hands together at our heart center. The reason that we try to touch the center of our chest or our heart center is so that we redirect our attention because your mind or your senses start to go to wherever there is physical touch and sensation. So please place your feet on the floor. Notice where you are sitting. If you would like to, place your hand on your heart, and I invite you to close your eyes. Take a deep breath in, full exhale out to calm and center yourself. Imagine that your eyes can move and drop back into your head, down through your throat, through to your chest, until your eyes reach your heart center. Dropping your awareness down into the center of your chest, where you can see your heart beating. Imagine how clearly you can feel your heartbeat. Feel your heart beating beneath your hand. See this amazing muscle pumping every moment of every day, pumping blood for you, allowing for the rest of the body to thrive. Breathing deeply into this space and fully out. With your attention in your heart center, I would like you to think of something that you love, feel care for, feel compassionate about, that you appreciate, feel deeply grateful for. This could be a person, place, thing, or an idea. It could be a beloved pet. It could be imagining an activity you do. Bring this thing to the forefront of your heart and sit with it for a moment, feeling so much gratitude, feeling so thankful for this thing. Breathing into your heart space, feeling all of the happiness and love that comes with caring for this thing. Feeling this emotion starting to expand through your heart and being pumped by your heart, pumping through your blood, through the rest of your body. Feeling this care and compassion, all of this happiness, pump through your arms, down your trunk, down through your legs to your feet, and bring your awareness up through your neck, up to your head, and allow this care and compassion to come back to your mind. And as if your eyes come back up to see out from your head, take a deep breath in, full exhale out. You may open your eyes and give a little stretch, breathing in and breathing out. All right, so that is what I do for a heart-based check-in. I like going for a heart-based check-in, which I have learned to do through Greg Braden and through heartmath.com or .org, heartmath.org, because there have been a lot of wonderful studies, most recently about the neurons in the heart center being able to not only just direct the activity of the heart and send signals of time to beat, time to beat, time to beat, but also housing memory and emotion. There have been cases of heart transplant patients taking on the memories and taking on the personalities of their donor, which is really quite interesting. So there are these neurons present in your heart, and when we focus on our heart, what we are starting to do is generate a parasympathetic nervous system, heart-brain coherence. And this parasympathetic nervous system is going to be your rest, digest, relax, and repair mode. So it's great for your immune system as well. If you don't have a ton of time or you're not super confident leading mindfulness or guided visualization, YouTube is an amazing resource. There are so many out there. If you specifically like the heart-brain coherence, then I have several that are posted to my YouTube channel. There's even just a quick 2.5 minutes heart-brain coherence video that you can use at the start of your class. I know that I have used this daily at the start of my Block 1 class to say this is what we're doing to really check in and get ready for our day. All right, so a few quick ideas here on how you might also incorporate some self-care into your classroom. One thing that I've done with students is really quickly lymphatic drainage. I don't go too much in detail into lymphatic drainage because we are not certified to be able to teach others or ourselves how to do full body lymphatic drainage. So you can always recommend going to a registered massage therapist who is trained in lymph drainage for the full benefits of this. Now, we need a little bit of background information of, well, what is your lymph? Every time your blood goes to your cells, it is going to take the oxygen and the nutrients and start to go from the blood to the cells. When that happens, some additional fluid, water, leaks out in between the cells. So that's interstitial fluid. That fluid that leaks out also is going to start absorbing the toxins and all the nasty gunk and waste from out of your cells. So that fluid needs to drain somewhere so we can excrete it from the rest of the body. That's your lymph. Your lymph has to come back to your lymph nodes, and from your lymph nodes can drain into your blood again, so your blood can take the waste products to your kidneys, to your liver, to be excreted. So your lymphatic system does play a really big role in your immunity. So to teach dry brushing, if you have at home right now, you can absolutely pause the video, go grab a nice soft bristled brush, like think of the soft bristles that you might use on a baby's hair. You can use something like that. You can just pause the video, go wash your hands, because I will invite you to touch your face. So go wash your hands now. All right. Here's how I show my students. I'm going to demonstrate on the arm so that we're not touching our face until we get the feel for this. We do not want to push in. Do not push in or go deep. What we're going to do instead is stretch. So that means pull down. So I would like you to pull gently straight down from your wrist toward your elbow. And this is to stretch the skin, but we do not want to push inward. The lymph exists just underneath the skin. So if you have a nice soft bristle brush, this is amazing. It's called dry brushing, to pull the lymph gently back toward your heart center. Now, as teachers, we do also have these wonderful compression socks that are covered on our benefits plan, 2 compression socks per year. That can help redirect lymph from your legs and your lower extremities back up again. And then for your arms, we always want to go from the extremity, from the arm or from the legs back toward the torso. Okay, so again, pulling the skin, stretching the skin, but not going deeply. So a lymphatic drainage massage, if you go to a registered massage therapist, doesn't actually use a lot of oil because you want to stretch the skin and you don't want the skin to be super slippery. So for the face, it can be extremely relaxing. Just make sure that you're not pushing in or pushing down. What we want to do is stretch the skin and then come around down to the neck. So you'll notice that when you're sick, your lymph nodes start to really swell because they're overwhelmed with a lot of gunk that they're trying to clear out. So we can gently help that and gently help the lymph coming down our neck. But again, don't be pushing straight into your neck, into your throat, please. Don't damage your larynx. This is quite gentle. So specifically, the 2 lymph nodes just above your collarbone, those are exactly where we want to be directing blood flow to. And if you look at the image on your screen, there are lots of other lymph nodes in your face and your neck as well. So what I like to do is start with 2 fingers. You can do whatever works for you, from the center of my eyebrows and stretch across. Now, for those of us who are already thinking or usually think about wrinkles and preventing wrinkles, then this is a nice stretch going along without pulling on any wrinkles in an uncomfortable way. So I am stretching my skin across, and I'll turn my face to the side and show you that then I go down toward my ear. And then at the jaw, there's a few options. You can pull straight down your jaw to your chin. You can also go down your neck, and from your neck, go toward your collarbone. Again, this is very gentle. So I'm going to go from my nose and across my cheek toward my ear, and then down my neck, super gentle, just stretching the top layer of skin and down toward my collarbone. This is very relaxing and should be relaxing because it's a very light touch. So when I do the front of my neck, I never go straight over your vocal cords or your Adam's apple. We want to go on either side and gently pull the skin down and maybe wiggle a little bit. I also like to use my finger individually and roll. So notice how in the camera here, I am rolling and gently roll the finger down toward the collarbone. Now, if you have collarbones that have that nice little indentation here, it's really easy to feel into that crevice that you are rolling into. And if your lymph nodes are really swollen, that might be a bit more difficult and might also be a great indicator that maybe you should go see a registered massage therapist or a craniosacral therapist who is certified in lymphatic drainage for you. So, quick little fun activity from here. If you want to pause the video, go wash your hands again. You sure can. Touched all those oils. Your next activity is called emotional freedom technique. It's also called tapping. So I use some exercise from the tappingsolution.com. I also use exercises just from YouTube and type in tapping technique and type in something like stress. So tapping out stress or tapping out worry or tapping out anger, frustration, something like that. When we do tapping, the theory is that we are going along energy meridians that engage the parasympathetic nervous system, which is your rest, digest, relax, and repair nervous system response. We do want to still have our sympathetic nervous system response at different points of our day, such as when we're exercising. When you're exercising, you want that heart rate up. You really want to get that blood flowing, and maybe you've got some dry mouth that reminds you that you should probably be drinking more water. But that sympathetic nervous response is best for exercise. We don't want to be in a sympathetic nervous response and super high adrenaline and high anxiety all day long. We need the reverse of that, which is calm down. Now, when we are concerned about something that makes us feel really anxious, really worried, and starts to heighten our senses and make us feel like now we can't think anymore, we want to engage that parasympathetic nervous system, because even though there's a mind-body connection, there's also a body-mind connection. So this calms down the body, engages the parasympathetic nervous system of the body to tell the brain, hey, that anxious feeling, that emotion, that's okay. Let's put the brakes on it and let's calm down so that you can better deal with that emotion, stress, or frustration. So here are the tapping points that I will walk through with you. And let's just do something really general like stress. So I'll ask you to rate your level of stress, maybe for a specific thing, like for work or for family life or for quarantine, whatever that specific level of stress is for you on a scale of 1 to 10. Now, what I would like you to do is understand that when we do this process, you might actually feel that stress level temporarily increase. That's okay, because we're bringing it to the surface so that we can deal with it. What we want to do is continue the process until we bring that number back down much lower. All right, let's get started. We start with the intention. So we're going to repeat our intention on the side of your hand here 3 times. And this is where you can start to figure out what the soft pressure is. When I say tapping, I mean we are going to tap Gently. Don't start hitting yourself, please and thank you. This is gently engaging these points on your body so that we can tap into the parasympathetic nervous response. We don't want to hit into. That's very different. So for your intention, we're going to start with the statement a few times, and the structure is always, even though I have this fill in the blank thing you want to focus on, I choose to fill in the blank happy thing. Like fill in the blank, I choose to accept myself. I choose to work through this. I choose to release this stress, etc. So let's try it out. And starting to tap on your karate chop point, I'm going to ask that you repeat after me, and I will give you time to say it out loud so you're fully interacting. Even though I have this stress, I choose to accept myself anyway. Even though I have this stress, I choose to love myself. Even though I have this stress, I choose to release it now. Come to the inside of your eyebrow. All this stress. Move to the side of your eyebrow. All of the stress in my body. Underneath your eye, gently and on the bone. All of this stress I feel. Under your nose, above your lip. Feeling all of this stress. Between your lip and your chin. Come to the surface. Your collarbone, just underneath your collarbone to the side. Coming to the surface now. You're under the armpit, so it's kind of like the monkey spot going ah, ah, ah. You've got, for females, right where your bra would be. For males, just think right underneath your armpit on your rib cage. All of this stress coming forward. And the top of your head, your crown. All of this stress in my body. Okay, we're going to repeat. You can do left side, right side, whatever's best for you. All of this stress. Feeling all of this stress. I'm just so stressed out. There's not enough time. How am I supposed to do it all? There's just not enough. And there's too much to do. I'm worried and upset. All of this stress. My insane work schedule. All of this stress. Trying to support my family. All of this stress in my life. All of this stress in my body. All of this stress in my heart. Coming to the surface now. It's time to release. It's time to acknowledge that I choose how to feel. I choose to deal with stress. I choose to manage stress. Not all stress is bad. Some stress is good. I choose to see that goodness. This stress in my body can be easily managed. I choose to deal with it. I choose to release it. My emotions don't control me. I let my emotions express, and then I move on. All is well in my body. All is well in my life. I can deal with this stress. I can release this stress. I can establish boundaries. I choose to have boundaries. I stand up for myself. I am ready to release this stress. Any residual stress, it's time to come out now. I choose calm. I know that I am worthy. I am deserving. I am ready. I am willing to change. I am ready to accept boundaries. Boundaries I establish. Boundaries I uphold. I choose my boundaries. I choose to manage stress. I choose to see my stress as positive. I work with my stress for a positive outcome. Take a deep breath in. Full exhale out. Deep breath in. Full exhale out, letting go of all that stress, all of that tension. Give yourself a little brush off. Shake it out. All right, breath in. Would you please rate your stress on a level of 1 to 10? If your stress is the same or has gone up, you might want to consider pausing the video and going through a few more rounds to see how that feels for you. Again, you can change your terminology. You can make the statements reflect how you feel and you choose to feel. You are your own sovereign individual. So coming toward the end of our presentation here, I wanted to just give you a few more tools, such as forgiveness work. The reason I want to bring this up is because I absolutely love this adage of carrying a grudge is like setting yourself on fire in the hopes that the smoke bothers someone else. And especially as educators, we tend to carry around a lot of guilt, a lot of weight on our shoulders. And I would just like to give you permission to forgive yourself and to forgive others. It does not ever condone what someone else has done to you. And it doesn't mean that you didn't mess up before, but it means that you deserve to be free and you deserve to move forward. Everyone, including you, has always been doing the absolute best they can with the knowledge, awareness, and skills that they have. So when I move forward through forgiveness work, I have actually used some of these radical forgiveness worksheets for my classrooms. And you might use something for something like healing guilt and shame, something that you are carrying, or something that you feel like you just aren't good enough and aren't quite adding up to some standard that you've held for yourself. So whatever you're blaming yourself for, you can write it down. You can rate how you feel about this sensation, what your self-esteem level is at this, and then ask yourself, am I willing to change? Maybe that's a little bit resistant still, or maybe you're just willing. And here is the beautiful key about forgiveness work. You do not need to know how to forgive. All you need for right now is to be willing, and just be willing to see from a different perspective. Just be willing to soften and be willing to let go of that grudge. Let time start to chip away and just let that willingness soften. You do not need to know any more of the how, just that sentiment itself will start to change and make a lot of shifts in your energy. So here's a great activity that I've actually got from Louise Hay. I would love for you to pause the video, take out a piece of pen and paper. At the very top, would you please write I should? And I would love you to finish I should sentence however many ways that you can. Maybe that's 10 different things on your to-do list. Like I should do this, do this, do this. Maybe it's I should be more this. Maybe I should be less this. Whatever your I should list is, would you please pause the video and fill that out? For those of you who don't know where to start, here are some ideas. Could you think of everything that's wrong with you, the things that you don't have, that you don't do, that you don't have enough of? What do you need to do today, this week, this year? What do you need to be? What do you need to have? What kind of sentences are going to come up for you? Here are some examples I've given students, especially when I worked with a group of young females, to say, okay, I should lose weight was a really big one for body image. Should exercise more, should eat healthier, get better grades, become a doctor when I grow up. I shouldn't be addicted to my phone. I should learn to do my makeup or my hair better. I should have a better social media, Instagram story. I should train more for something that I do. Whatever those examples are, would you please take some that really identify with you? Would you please fill this out for it's your list? Okay, next to or underneath each one, I want you to ask yourself why. I should become a doctor. Why? Because maybe that student has said, because my parents told me to. What is it for you? Is it I should lose weight? Why? Just notice and be aware of what comes up for you and just ask yourself why. Pause the video. Okay, when we do these examples here, see what comes up for you as an individual, because your responses are very, very reflective of your psyche and what your experiences are and what you're going through. So don't get angry with yourself. Don't be upset. Don't judge yourself for what these responses are. It's just building awareness. Someone might say, I should exercise more because I'm too fat, because I'm out of shape. So here's what you take away from that. You have a negative body image or a negative perception of how you should look physically. Do you really want to do that particular exercise, or do you absolutely hate it? Now, from there, just be aware of, is there something else I could do that would still get me to the same goal, but maybe I could enjoy? And maybe that's for someone who likes to exercise, doing a dance practice instead of doing some cardio, or maybe it's lifting weights, or maybe that's doing yoga or going out for more walks. Whatever is best for you, resonate with that and do it without judgment. So see what comes up for you, because sometimes what comes up are limiting beliefs. Like, I'm lazy and ugly and I don't do enough. Those are quite negative limiting beliefs that we might want to consider allowing out of our life. So here's what I would love for you to do. Would you please go to the top of the list, cross out I should, and put if I really wanted to, I could. Please reread your list with if I really wanted to, I could, and just see how it feels. Now that you've reread your list, I want you to feel the change or the shift. Does it empower you? Are there now some that say, yeah, I do really want to? Are there some on your list that you're like, I really don't want to? And this just gives you a different perspective. It's just a shift of perception of what do you actually have your heart in. So, how do you feel? Is there any emotion that comes up? Do you feel more bogged down because now there's more junk to clear that you didn't realize there was so much junk? That's okay. Don't judge yourself for that. Is it freeing to be like, oh, I don't have to do that thing that everybody else said I should do, but I really don't want to do? Do you notice any patterns of your because reasons? Is there a feeling like you're just not good enough and you're just not adding up? Do you have any negative or limiting beliefs about yourself? One thing that I like working with people is how to overcome those limiting beliefs and acknowledge them for what they really are, a lie. When you can acknowledge that those negative beliefs are a lie, the next question is, well, then what's true? The opposite of the lie must be true, correct? That if you are not actually ugly, fat, and lazy, then you are beautiful inside and out, and it's beauty in the eye of the beholder. Where can you actually look at yourself and be like, you know what? I'm really good at this thing. I am a really beautiful soul at this thing. How does that make you feel? And does that free you in any way, shape, or form? Just be aware and just acknowledge and honor where you are at with your journey right now. You don't have to compare yourself with anyone else's notes on this one. It's entirely your feeling. So what I like to do now with that I should list, I've done this before with students, of write down the things that we don't like about ourselves, that we kind of judge ourselves for, and we are going to scribble all over it. We're going to crumple it up. We are going to rip it. We are going to destroy it. Now, you are a sovereign adult, so if you want to burn it in a safe way, like in a fire pit, you go ahead and you burn it. Just please make sure fire safety is observed. But feel free to take that list and you just destroy it because it does not have any power over you anymore. In the classroom, I get students to crumple it up and we play basketball straight into the garbage, not the recycling, because I want them to know that after they've put it in the garbage, I tie up the garbage, nobody sees it, it's going out in the trash, and they get rid of all that extra junk just like it's trash and garbage, because that's what those negative limiting beliefs are, garbage. You don't need to keep it with you anymore. You can literally throw it out, throw out that piece of paper and destroy it. In my health class, this is a great way to segue into self-talk because we've been discussing limiting beliefs. So whatever that self-talk is, the patterns of thought that are going over and over in your head, here's the good news. That tape recorder that says you're not good enough, you are good enough. I promise you you're good enough, and everyone has that doubt. It's time to start addressing it and say, I deserve to take care of myself. I deserve to take care of my physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. I deserve to stand in my own power, because when you as a teacher take good care of yourself, you are going to show up better for your students, for the rest of your colleagues in your school, and you are going to empower them to do the same. You stand in your power. That gives you so much calm that your students will feed off of and really appreciate from you. All right, if you like anything that I've said, you might be interested in some of my books that are available. I've got a website, agracemartin.com. My most recent ebook is My Physics Teacher Said, 10 Ways to Think Smarter and Live Better. The very first chapter, I write how to overcome limiting beliefs. It's all from a science perspective because I am a high school science teacher. I'm working on an online wellness course called Wellness Potential Academy. I haven't published it yet, but if you please sign up for my email list, I'd love to let you know when it is available. Any questions for me personally about wellness and complementary and alternative health, I would love to hear from you. My email is agracemartin@gmail.com, or you can access me through my website. I hope that this has been beneficial for you and you have a great rest of your day. Please don't forget, take care of yourself.